All right. Tell us about Earl Palmer now. Earl Palmer, I mean, oh my God. You talk about Panama Francis. Earl Palmer, he was really the first guy that, like, really everybody started to know his name. And
Considered one of the inventors of rock and roll.
yeah. And he came from the jazz background like everybody else.
Came from the big swing, yeah, the big swing. You know, he was born in New Orleans in the Treme district, which there used to be a show on HBO or something like that called Treme, and it showed how bad that section of New Orleans.
Growing up, yeah.
So, you know, he played on all the Little Richard and Fats Domino stuff.
Now, imagine if that was all. If that was the only thing he did.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But if you go to New Orleans, you can actually go to the spot where the studio was. It's actually a laundromat now.
Wow.
But it has the pictures of all the guys that played in this particular studio. I actually veered off the main road and went to see this because I thought, I got to see this studio.
I know, even in Memphis now, they tell you don't go certain places. It's like, it's a shame. It's like all these legendary places that was so happening now. They got to rejuvenate these places. And
when I played with Steve Cropper for a while with the all-star band that we had, we were in Memphis, and I said, "Oh, can we go to where you used to make all those records, you know, Stax?" He goes, "No, it's just a pile of bricks now. There's nothing there."
I know. Yeah, well, look at what happened in New York City. Same scene happened in New York City. So we kind of went through it too. Look, we were in the studio all the time, and now we're in the studio, but we have our own studios because that's what everybody had to do now. You know, back then, if you had your own studio, that means you were like,
yeah, A&R, where we made all the Billy albums, gone.
Yep. So let's talk about some of the stuff that he played on. I mean, besides Little Richard, Tutti Frutti, right? He played on Tutti Frutti.
Played on Tutti Frutti.
I mean, all the little. Okay, Alexa.
He played on almost every Little Richard
tune.
Played
Tutti Frutti by Little Richard.
Here's Tutti Frutti by Little Richard on Amazon Music.
So you know the Beatles were listening to this. Oh. And our good friend Alvin Taylor, he toured when he was a kid playing all this stuff. Again, see, I guess coming from the jazz scene, they all had that swing. And look, like, he's almost doing the Ringo thing. And in those days, I mean, all this stuff has been remastered, so now you hear the drums a little bit more. But in those days, when we were learning this stuff, oh my God, if you heard the drums, it's like you had to listen 100 times.
So great. So
Alexa, off. One of my favorites, even though it's not a rocker, is You Lost That Lovin' Feeling.
Great one.
Now, some of you may not know, but Earl was in the Wrecking Crew as well. And of course, Earl got, how many records did you say? What'd you say?
Earl, in 1967, now this is according to Union.
Right, all the records.
All the records that they say.
So imagine all the stuff, because sometimes we did stuff without.
In 1967, he played 450 dates.
Unbelievable. And that's, well, in a way.
It's only 365 days in a year.
I know. And that was really good for our buddy Hal Blaine, because Hal, as great as Hal was and what Hal went on to become, he never stopped giving the credit to Earl Palmer for jump-starting his career, because Earl was so busy, and Earl came from the jazz scene, and Hal came from the jazz scene, and then they were the only ones that wanted to give rock and roll a shot, because everybody said, that's garbage. I ain't playing that garbage. I'm a jazz drummer.
It's going to be over in a second.
Yeah, it's going to be over. It's like, I'm not playing that. Meanwhile, those two guys jumped in and took over the world. So, I mean, I miss Hal to this day. But Hal never, ever stopped giving praise to Earl Palmer for starting his career.
You know, I think I don't know if it's Earl Palmer who coined the phrase, but it said that he featured the backbeat that has become the most important element of rock and roll. He's the first to feature that backbeat.
Right. And be heavy on that 2 and 4.
Yeah, yeah. He also was the first one to use the word funky.
Really?
Yeah, that's how he explained to the other musicians, like, this it's got to be funky, you know, funky. When I was with Mitch Ryder in 1968, we had this security guy who also sang a song before Mitch came out.
You know, I was only 10 years old.
Yeah, too bad. I would have got you in the show. You should have called me. His name was Romeo, and he used to say funky all the time. I didn't know what funky. I'm a white kid from Long Island. I don't know what funky is.
You thought he was cursing.
Yeah. So I said, Romeo, what is this funky that you're talking about? He said, you know, you get an old pair of loafers or something, and they got holes in them, and they're kind of worn out and everything like that, but you put them on, and they're so comfortable, you cannot throw them away. They're funky.
Yeah.
You know,
'Cause it
that's
works.
the music. It just fits you, you know? No
Yeah.
matter what's going on, it just is so comfortable.
And it came from the R&B side, let's
Yes.
face it, which rock and roll really came from when
Oh,
you think
yeah.
about it. So, I mean, come on. All right. I forget if I don't think there's drums in the beginning. So,
What?
Alexa, play You Lost That Loving Feeling by the Righteous Brothers. Because Hall & Oates did a great version,
Here's
too.
You've Lost That Loving Feeling by the Righteous Brothers on Amazon Music.
Now talk about a song. And now, Phil Spector, of course. I mean, the lunatic genius who... Now, see how he's letting the song play?
Yeah.
He's not like jumping right in, but then... There's that drive again. And look, and it's so low in the background.
Well, Phil always built that wall of sound
Yeah.
with a lot of reverb and
Yeah.
echo.
But this was really about, this was a song. This was like,
Yeah.
And of course, again, their vocals.
Now, I emulated him, Earl Palmer, on Until the Night, because Billy wrote Until the Night to honor the Righteous Brothers.
Really?
So we kind of did the same type of thing.
Alexa off. See, so let's talk about that too, because like like I mentioned earlier, nobody probably pays attention, so I could say it again. But you know, you go in the studio, you're hearing the song for the first time. You don't know, like, if somebody says, because you know, like you just said now,
Yeah.
like with Billy, Uptown Girl was Four Seasons. I mean, the Four
Definitely.
Seasons could have did this one. So I think everybody, even the Beatles, at one time I heard them say something about, let's be Fleetwood Mac today. Now, how did your Christmas book? How did that go?
The Christmas book went well. It just it came late. So
the shipping problems that we were having, right?
yeah, it sat on a boat for a while.
Yeah,
And,
that's with everything.
but the great thing about a Christmas book is the gift that keeps on giving. So next year I'll be able to do it again.
Yeah, there you go. You'll be able to do it forever.
Forever.
Forever. Check that out. We'll remind you, Nick. Hopefully we'll do at least one more from now till Christmas, if not more.
All right, listen to me. You got to play. Earl Palmer played on Summertime Blues by Eddie Cochran,
Which was redone by The Who, of course.
of course. And Rockin' Robin by Bobby Day. Rockin' Robin has the most powerful shuffle. Alexa, play Rockin' Robin by Bobby Day.
Rockin' Robin by Bobby Day on Amazon Music.
See, you're older than me. You know these songs.
It's the best one.
Well, didn't the Jackson 5 redo this?
Yeah, terrible though.
Did you know who played on that? I don't.
It's probably the Motown guy. What's his name?
No, I don't
But
know.
listen. And then they do the two-handed shuffle thing that we love.
Oh, that's hard. And that. Yeah, Earl had that down. That's hard to do.
Yes.
You want to practice something, you younger people, start now because it takes your whole life to perfect that. Double shuffle.
But plus playing the backbeat in your shuffle.
Right. Accenting that too.
He's playing the backbeat too.
Like rock and roll, Zeppelin. He played with the Beach Boys. He was on some of the Beach Boys stuff as well before
When
Hal
I grow up
took
to
over.
be a man.
Which one?
When I grow up to be a man. When I grow
Yeah.
up to be.
It's amazing.
La Bamba.
La Bamba. I mean, Alexa, off. I know. It's like, oh my God, I hear you knocking. Lloyd Price. Or was that?
That's
No, that was
That's Domino.
Yeah,
Right, no.
and Smiley Lewis. Who's Smiley Lewis? Alexa, can you play I Hear You Knocking by Smiley Lewis?
Here's I Hear You Knocking by Smiley Lewis.
I don't
on
think I've
Amazon
ever heard
Music.
this, so he's on this. Little Fats Domino.
Yeah. That's
I've never heard this song, have you?
yeah.
No, I know the song,
all
but
these
now
albums.
now I hear
Yeah.
it, yeah. Oh, Dave Edmunds redid this back.
Russell used to wake me up before we were Billy, and he used to come over to my house and he played it really loud on my stereo once while I was sleeping and woke me up.
See? Fats,
Yeah, and the piano's doing this.
yeah. Fats Domino. It's like, I mean, this stuff is going to sound old to a lot of the younger generation, but try to play some of this stuff and fit in and lock into those grooves. And you know what? There's so many songs now that this is the same beat. It's the same exact beat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alexa, off. All right, let's do a few more because we could stay here all day.
I know.
I mean, there's so many people.
Played Walking.
I'm a walking. Yeah.
Fats Domino.
Earl played on there?
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder. See, Alexa, play "I'm Walking" by Fats Domino.
I'm Walkin' Remastered by Fats Domino on Amazon Music.
Listen to that bass drum sound.
It's like this.
And the foot. See, this is remastered. You actually hear the foot. And Earl was a great guy. I mean, you got to meet him.
No.
You never did?
No.
Oh, I hung out with him a couple of times, and one of the last times I hung out with him, he had, he was already health-wise, he wasn't as strong, and he had oxygen, and then he would take the oxygen off and talk a little bit, and then put the oxygen back in. But I spent one afternoon with him, the whole afternoon, like just hanging out, because I think we were at NAMM. We were at some big convention, and he was tired of walking. So he sat, and I happened to be walking by, and I introduced myself, we started talking, and then I wind up, giving his wife at the time, whoever it was, a little break. So we just sat there, and we just talked and talked, and then I seen him a couple of times after that, and he loved Hal so much too, so. Unbelievable. And Alexa, off. And just like James Gatson and all these guys, because James Gatson's another one, which eventually I'm sure we'll cover. We might even have James here when we do it.
Oh, that'd be great.
And they played later on. They still played. Like I read when we were doing research that he played with Elvis Costello.
Yeah.
Earl Palmer. I mean, that's amazing, and we know Elvis goes back. He appreciated all that early rock and roll stuff, and Gatson had played on with McCartney years ago, and Beck. So it's not like these guys just like disappeared.
You know, if you saw the what was it called? The Get Back video, the new
Yeah.
one that came out. Was that what it was
The
called?
Beatles?
Yeah. This is what people need to do again. When you watch the Beatles create in the studio, they always had to go back to where they came from. And John would start singing those rock songs again,
Right,
you know, and Paul would be singing the,
get
you know,
the feel and
or
the-
get that. Where did that come from? Where did that come? Get that feel again. Get that feel again. Okay, now we can start to create our own song, but now we know the feel that we want to get.
Right.
You know, and it's all in these songs.
Yeah, it's the start of rock and roll. I mean, it's like anything. When you go to school, because we both know how me and you felt about school, you know, school wasn't going to help us do what we wanted to do. So in music, it's the same thing. You got to go back and you got to learn the history and where it came from and
Yes.
then move on. I remember when I first got into it and I heard Baby Dodd, I was like, who the hell is Baby Dodd? Everybody's talking about this guy, Baby Dodd. Then I realized, oh my God, this guy is like, and that's going even further back. Now, am I going to study Baby Dodd? No, but at least I'm aware of him and what he did and what he accomplished and try to keep a little bit of that in my subconscious about, but.
You know, it's such great stories about drummers. Dino told me the story. Well, when he plays like in "Come On Up" in that break,
Right.
take it nice and easy.
Right.
It's so sporadic. The bass drum. He said he played. He took lessons from a guy who couldn't move his right leg.
Right.
Remember he said,
that's right.
and he picks it up when he's playing like.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
You know, it's
I
like,
forgot
oh my
about
God!
that.
Because some guy couldn't lift his leg. Dino Dinelli had a style that was like unbelievable.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. So before we go, if anybody, Panama Francis, look him up. Earl has a biography called Backbeat: The Earl Palmer Story by Tony Sherman, and that came out in 1999. So I did read that book. It's history. This is what we're bringing. Did you know?
Did you know?
Anyway, Billy Amendola, Liberty DeVitto, Billy's Bubble, and we'll see you soon. We'll see you next time.